Cool, I think we're good to go. All right, first up, thank you everyone for coming along. We're here to do a bit of a dissection of the audio for Cult of the Lamb. So I guess for those who don't know, my name is Aaron Edwards. I'm the product manager for FMOD, working with Firelight. And we have the amazing river boy on Narayana Johnson here, who I'm sure you all are very big fans of, because I am.
Thank you. I am the audio director at Massive Monster. So at the moment I do everything audio, anything audio at Massive Monster, I'm doing it. Thanks for coming out, and I hope you enjoy the talk.
Awesome. So what I thought would be fun today, because if anybody saw my talk from last year, apparently I like to make things hard on myself. What I thought would be cool today is if we break open the Cult of the Lamb project in Unity, we then jump into FMOD and start basically reverse engineering the project. And what I wanted to do was basically look at how you might approach getting your bearings in a new project, or let's say you're coming on as a new sound designer and there's a project of FMOD and you want to kind of get your bearings, or you're trying to learn an existing project, then these are some tips that might help you get your bearings. So to start with, what I want to do is jump into FMOD and use what we call the profile level to be able to identify what sounds are playing when. So I'm going to have to lean back and forth a bit. Well, hi again. There's a bit of a height difference though, so this is going to be interesting. So, right, in FMOD, I'm just in the profiler screen, which is just under window and then profiler. And what the profiler can do is record multiple inputs, event changes, parameter changes, and whatnot. And when you hit record, obviously now nothing is happening. But what we need to do is we need to set live update, and you can just leave it as localhost for this. And you can see it's going to hook in, and now we're directly connected to the Unity session that's running. So if I now hit record, you can see in the 3D preview, we've got the music that's playing and we've got some little representations of the 3D sounds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to work out basically what some sounds that Narayan has implemented, and I'm going to try and work out how he did it, and then Narayan's going to give us an actual explanation instead of my rambles. So now that the profile is running, I'm going to hand over to Narayan to showcase the first sound, and then I'm going to try and work out how they did it. Cool?
Yeah. So we have this. Let's get some time going. Hold on one second. Basically there's an ambient track that plays only at the very start of the game. Actually, this was Jay's idea, who's in the front row here. But we have this ambient track that plays until you get your first follower. Oh, actually, I'm jumping around myself. Okay, did you hear him talk just then? He went, Shalom Baka. We have two parameters that are set each time a follower spawns. It's one is a pitch, which is just how high or low their voice is, and one is kind of a vibrato effect that is like the waviness of their voice. So that's all set up in FMOD. I think I have some audio issues, maybe. That's the explanation. How did I do it?
The audio of the game just for a second so that I can check out some things. Now I'm going to jump back to FMOD, and because we've recorded all of these movements, what we can do is we can double back and we can press play on this recorded session. And I'm a native PC user and very clumsy with Mac, so bear with me. But as you can see, we've now recorded all of these elements that was happening during gameplay. So if we jump forward to the waveform here where you can see there's some more action. So, you know what's that kind of sound? By default, I believe the profile will have the levels mark selected, which is just the different volume levels and different events. But I personally, when I'm doing this kind of like reverse engineering, like using the lifespans view, this bit because it gives a little bit of a better like overview of what's happening. So, if we're looking through, what we can do is we can actually solo out these different elements. So we can check out all these different elements and see what's happening. Right? So, that's words, we've got music. So I'm just going to skim through to see until I find something that looks like it's kind of what I'm looking for the follow-up voice, right? You can see that's where we pulled up on the recording session, I hope. All the audio just died. So it looks like this one here might be our follower voice, maybe.
Salam baka.
There we go. Okay. So let's have a look through. Oh, it was around here.
Salam baka.
So excuse me while I bend away from the microphone. Okay, so we've got what looks like conversation start here. So if I can select that instance, that might be one of them. Am I on the right track?
Maybe. I think it might be general talk. It's below it just by 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can see we're still in the right area by just looking at the different sort of areas, right? And again, I'm going to put that to my bad eyesight. Let's go with that. Right. So if we left-click the general talk lifespan here, you can see it shows underneath the instance and all the parameters that are associated with it. And as we play back, if we just move the playback position back a little bit,
Salam baka.
you can see these yellow dots are representing the current value of that parameter. Now, if I want to actually work out what's going on in the event, usually you'd go back and dig through the event and find it, or I can be lazy, which I like, and you can click that button, and it automatically loads that event, opens it up for us, and we can see what's going on. Now, for those who aren't super familiar with FMOD, there's basically, this is an action sheet. These are just triggering these different sounds. This one's a multi-instrument triggering some other sounds, and then we've got some parameters. Really quick overview. If anybody's interested in learning more about FMOD, then we've got a bunch of resources available on the website. But I don't really want to get too stuck into the weeds of FMOD 101 for this, because we have the amazing Narayan here, and it feels like a waste. So if I play this,
Salam baka. Palagam bayan na salam baka.
cool, right. So I've worked out the right event, and now if I was coming to, let's say, I came on as a junior sound designer for Narayan, right? I could kind of go, all right, well, I know these events are here. These are just preview events. They're not changing anything in the game. But I can kind of move these around and go, okay, well, let's just move some stuff and see what happens.
Takalam bayan na.
Dalam kan bayan na.
Okay. Oops.
Salam baka yan na. Salam baka na bayan na.
Salam kan bayan na. Samala kan bana. Dalam kan.
Cool. So, what I can kind of hear there is going, well, obviously follow-up pitch is affecting the pitch. That's good naming conventions. Good job. But what we can do is we can select any of the instruments and have a look at what's going on. And then if we click this little pop-out here, we can have a look at the automation that's been applied. And here you can see we've got a curve that's based on follow-up pitch that's going from -5 to 5 semitones. And that's affecting the pitch of this entire playlist. So I go, okay, great. So follow-up pitch is affecting the pitch of the sounds that are triggering. And then follow-up vibrato, if I have a look at the master track just by selecting nothing, you can see we've got an EQ and a flanger. I can see that there is some modulation on the flanger. I can pop that one out, and you can see follow-up vibrato is affecting a few different elements here. For those interested, you can just right-click on any value in FMOD and go add automation or modulation and go from there. But, so from here I can kind of see, okay, we're affecting a few different values within the vibrato. So based on that, I would assume that the pitch is controlling the pitch of the the follower, which they might set per follower, and then the vibrato is kind of giving it a bit of a different characteristic. So how close they get.
That's great. That's exactly what's going on. Yeah, I think you did good. Okay, so next sound. Well, thank you.
My bad.
All right, so we've got our follower. We got him. His name is Gregorion. I like it. I'm going to let him be whatever this thing is, except... Okay, and so once we've got our first follower... So that was Jay's idea. Yeah, so he just wanted it to feel exciting when you get your first follower. It's like a moment, right? And we did notice, like, when people were streaming the game, it kind of like, oh, like it kicks in, and then they're like, yeah, this is sick. And it's just, it's a moment, you know. It's yeah, a lot of fun. That's a pretty basic transition. Do you want to look at that again?
No, I think that's pretty straightforward, and I just realised that the press record on the I'm going hard.
Alright,
So just quickly to recap there, what I really loved about that when we were talking about this, yep, thank you, was the fact that there is a really good element of storytelling, but also integrated into the integration of the audio, right? So it's not just going, what can I do to make it complex, or what can I do to tell a story? It's going, how can I use the systems I have available to make something that the player can experience, right? And I think that's what Cult of the Lamb does brilliantly, is it's just got such a cool vibe. And they just set and manage so brilliantly. And that little element of just going, hey, the first time you get a follower, that's when the music really kicks in with the groove. To me, that's just perfect use case of a really simple mechanic, but using it in a storytelling way, in such a perfect way. So I just wanted to say that I think it's a great idea. And I think more people should think about how storytelling integration should both affect the integration and also the compositional process as well.
thank you. All right, so I think the next thing we're going to talk about is the night music, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's cool.
I'm going to hit record first, though.
Yeah.
So, just before we get too deep in, all we have to do is hit record to see the profile is automatically jumped to the end of the last session. We started recording again, so now we can just keep going back to gameplay and adding more elements from that.
Yeah, all right, so, in Cult of the Lamb, there is a day cycle and a night cycle, which you can see represented by the little wheel at the top right. It's like a little clock, really. Now, I have some sheets. So listen, the music, this is day music. Listen. Oh no, this is the worst time to do it. Give it like 1 minute.
Look, I'm not going to lie, I'm just happy to chill with this music. I love it.
Listen to the music right now. Can you hear it? What I've done, and I'll open up the Ableton project after we look at it in FMOD, but basically what I've done is I've just got two versions of the song that play beside each other. One of them, I removed the bass and the drums, and then I just doused it in a bunch of reverb and kind of filtered it, and then I just bounced it separately, and it just plays along underneath the regular track, and then we just crossfade between them.
You did my job for me.
So, oh no, whoops. I mean, we use technical other stuff.
Let's see if I can find out what. I mean, I have no idea what you just did, though. Cool. All right. So once again, let's run back to the profiler. Let's have a look at the session that we recorded. See if I can find anything that looks like what I'm trying to track down. If nothing else, despite knowing obviously what we're aiming for, again, if I was a new sound designer coming onto this project, being able to easily find this event without having to dig through the actual events, the event list, folders and whatnot, super useful, right? There we go. There's a few things happening. We've got forest here, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be like a sound effect type thing or something similar. We've also got the main music event. Now, just from looking at it, just from looking where the waveform is and the lifespans and whatnot, I'm pretty sure we're going to be dealing with something to do with the music event. Just press play. Let's just keep an eye on the instance parameters. When you know it, yet again, we're naming conventions. We have a night parameter. Excellent. So let's crack that event open and have a look. So again, we can just open the event directly from the profiler. And we have a very cool music project event here. So just so I don't get us into trouble and play the wrong thing at the wrong time, is there a particular bass ID that I can do so I can just press play?
This one's good, yeah.
Awesome. There you go. Now, see, there is so much. Okay, so, cool. So I can see, when I'm moving it, there's some smoothing happening. I'll look at that in a sec. But first off, let's try and work out what's going on, right? Again, we kind of know what's going on. And if I was a new sound designer, they probably would have told me that coming in, right? So we're still doing it right. We got this. But I can see, as I'm moving this night value, I can see there's some volume happening on the track that's called night. And then there's some more volume changes happening on layer 1. So it's like, great. So we can just select any of the audio tracks we want to have a look at. We can pop open the automation and see what's going on. And as you would guess, we've got some volume changing happening here. But this one is set to fire pit. So I'm like, okay, well, that's not what I was expecting, right? But you can see it's one of two. So you can assign multiple curves to any particular parameter or controller here. So I'm just going to jump across to the second one. Now that looks more like what I was expecting, right? As we move along, basically the higher night value is, the lower this one is. If we select the night track, then it's exactly what we're expecting, yeah? So all we've needed to do to set this up is to basically go, okay, if night's 0, the night track is playing and the day one's now silent. And if it's the other way around, then it's the other way around. Side note for the technically minded is that if any audio track is being played at 0 volume, in other words, if you cannot hear it at any point, then FMOD will automatically virtualize that element, which is, for all intents and purposes, the same thing as unloading it from memory, but in a really efficient way. So it's actually a really efficient way to do this, even though from a technical audio design point of view, it may feel a bit clunky. But moving on, the last thing.
Aaron, how does it know which curve to behave with?
Based on the parameter that's assigned to it. So the fire pit is connected to the fire pit element, and then the night is connected to the night element. And then, so really quick breakdown, any controller or any value that can be moved can be modulated modulated or automated with a parameter. In this particular case, we've got the volume fader, which is assigned a specific name within the F1 engine. We've just kind of gone, okay, that volume fader, we just want to modulate it based on the night parameter, and then that is a curve that we assign to it. So it's kind of like, yeah, does that make sense?
But are both those curves affecting volume?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how does it decide which one, if there's conflicting, like if it's both at a different settings?
Sure. So just for clarity, the question there was basically what happens in this particular case if there's two volume curves affecting a singular value. And in this particular, well, in any case, if there's multiple values being automated if there's multiple parameters affecting a single value, they get summed together. So in this case, if both fire pit and night are affecting it, the attenuation of both of those values affected at the same rate. Because F1 has adaptive value controls for its parameters, so it's not a numerical value. You can see we're actually applying gain reduction here. It's not just numerically turning it down. So as a result, we can combine those two gain values together. So the last one really quickly is, as we were playing, cool thing that you can just left click on any of the parameters, and down in the bottom of the parameter components you can see there's a seek speed here, and that basically just takes the two values and kind of smoothens it out. It takes more time to get from one to the other. So Narayan's used it really well here to kind of just, even though Unity is saying night, it's kind of going, okay, over time just ease that in. So yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to say about that is I could have achieved like a similar thing by giving one of the devs saying like, oh, turn this parameter up over 5 seconds, right? But the advantage of doing it this way is I can keep tweaking it, and I can tweak it until I'm happy with it on my end, whereas I don't want to keep like going back to them and be like, oh no, make it 7 seconds, oh no, make it 6.5 seconds. This way it's like they just flip it to 1, and then I can like control the exact curve of it, the way it ramps up. So wherever I can, I try and do stuff on FMOD's end because I can tweak it till I'm happy without having to get someone else involved. So I wanted to go into the Ableton project really quickly.
While Narayan's just flipping over, I just want to quickly add on to that one of the foundational building blocks of FMOD is to basically give more creative design control to the sound designers, but also remove some of the responsibility that the programmers are on, because I'm sure as audio designers we've all been in that place going, I want to implement this, and the programmer just looks at you with a death stare that you know you cannot push that person any further. So FMOD kind of gives us the control to be able to build these systems within FMOD and not have to worry and bug the programmers and get maybe threats that we don't want to deal with.
So this is the project of one of the space tracks, and I just want to show you the effects rack that I put on the master to make the night tracks. Okay. So this is the standard version. So all I do is I mute the drums, I mute the bass, and then I have this rack called night that I've saved. Nighttime, and then I put that on before the master. On the master, but before my mastering chain. And then inside it is just this like Valhalla reverb called Shimmer. Soothe is just like taming the low end a little bit to make it less muddy. And then I'm filtering out the highs and the lows just to make it more nighty, I guess. But yeah, when this is on, it sounds like. So that is how the night tracks are made. And one other thing I wanted to show, so I have these flute melodies that go like this. They're really simple lines, but the way that I edited them I think is kind of interesting. And so I play flute. I brought it so I could prove it. So I fumble my way around. I'm not by any means I'm not like a good flute player. Like I can fumble my way around and like make a few melodies. So I'm all right. I'm decent. But I haven't like ever gotten lessons or anything like that. So what I do is I'll record myself for ages. So I'll record myself playing for like 20, 30, 40 minutes. And then I'll find like the best little juiciest bits where I like actually played something good. I'll take all those and then I put them into a sampler, and I can essentially then I have them like across a keyboard, like all these different little riffs that I like. And then honestly, honestly, I just have them in like, it's saved in this instrument, and I'll just bring them into a project and then pitch shift it so it's in the right key, and then just like play around on a drum machine until I've hit like a couple of notes in a row that I think sound good. And like you'd think like, oh, but the timing would be out. Like why? How? But I don't know. It seems to work. So yeah, I've been doing it. Yeah. So that is Ableton. That is one of the Ableton projects. Let's go onwards.
So I think, just on that note, I think that I like the fact that Narayan could have done this in FMOD. Like he could have built just a multi-instrument to trigger some of those samples and like fly it off. But what struck me was the fact that it was a conscious decision not to. It wasn't just him going, oh, well, I did it in Ableton because I could. It was like, no. Like he wanted to be able to design these elements in certain ways and bring them in at certain points.
Yeah, it's also the fact that, so the night version, like I could have had the stems printed out, so like the drums turn down and the bass turns down and then a filter comes on and then a reverb comes on, right? I could have done all that stuff to kind of achieve the same effect, but it's so much simpler to just have like another track that's the reverby version. Plus I get to use like all the VSTs that I own inside Ableton and like use more CPU intensive reverbs and like better plugins. No offense.
No, 100%. Like the FMOD DSPs were designed in a way to be used in real time in games. Like I think at any point it's really important to remember that the CPU intensive plugins are there for a reason, because they sound amazing, but there's no way you could run those in real time unless you have like a developer computer, in which case, great, but not everyone has that. So I think it's really, really good that these decisions were all being made consciously. I think that's really important and a really great example of like designing games with a scope and maintaining that scope throughout. So, we do the help button?
Yeah, let's check it out. Yeah. All right, so the next effect, I won't tell you what it is this time.
Telepkan A.
This is how you build a tempo. Take it away.
Cool. Okay. So, did that not record? Why did that not record? We pressed record. I hit record, I think.
Really zoomed out.
Nope.
I could do it again, I think.
Yeah, let's do it again.
All right.
Record. Stay recording.
It's recording? Okay, we're good. All right.
There we go. Okay, we got that. Cool. So, let's jump back. Let's, again, you can see just to clarify with the profile, you can see we've got the different flags that are dictating our different session positions and whatnot. So we can kind of just scroll through and see what's going on. One thing to note is you can also see the 3D preview is also showing the positional information of all the different events and whatnot as well. But let's just have a play. So I'm pretty sure it's pretty clear which one that one is. There's a power loop there. Now if we just play that again. So I'm pretty sure I'm right. It is this event. So let's open this one. And you can see we've got, okay, so we've got a single instrument that's on async. We've got a power parameter that's doing stuff. Looks like it's controlling the volume. You can see it's going from negative infinity and then immediately to 1 as well.
Oh, it's doing volume as well.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm helping.
Yeah. Hey, good point.
So, and then the other thing is that we have down the bottom in the sample, in the sound component, you can see the pitch control down there is also moving, right? So, let's just open this one up, and we can see, okay, there's some automation happening on the pitch. It's going from negative 24 semitones up to 0. And if we left-click on the audio track, we can also see that there is a very sharp curve happening on the power there, which I'm assuming is just to avoid it from playing at 0 once it's in game. So if I want to just listen to what this audio clip sounds like, which is 1.3 second clip, we can just press play in the sound component, which I hope is okay.
Yeah.
Neat. So if I press play, first thing is this is going to be playing at minus 24 semitones, right? And then if we move it just slightly, it'll pop out of that 0 range. I'm pretty sure this would have been implemented to make sure that if it does get played at 0 volume, that it's not just constantly looping for no reason.
Yep.
And then... So, I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious on this one, but it's cool that the power is basically directly connected to how full the bar is, and then the bar is moving, getting filled as the player holds down the button. But what I think is really cool is this really demonstrates just how simple it is to get a really effective sound going. It's just kind of a simple looping sound with a bunch of pitch shifting, but it works really well as a sound design element. This even sounds like some sort of choir snippet from a track or something, but again, what I love about it is just reusing elements. It's not redesigning the system just because you can. It's going, well, what sounds cool, what works, right? But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
No. That's perfect. That's exactly what's going on. Actually, Jonas Turner made this sound effect, so I wasn't doing sound effects at the time. And everything that he did in the project is incredible and was amazing to be able to look at. And while I was learning how to do that kind of stuff, was able to check out how he'd done everything and really simplistic stuff like this, but it just sounds super good. Should we do the one with the boss tracks? We've probably got time for one more maybe. Because yeah, I reckon, right? Yeah. All right. One more example to show Hey, we can show the arms thing.
Thank you for the backup. Okay, cool. So, let's have a look. I'm aiming for music or sound design on this one.
Wait, do we need to
That's
stop
right.
by
Just tell me what we're doing.
4:40?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Sessions until 50.
Oh, sick. Oh,
See? I told you, we're good, man. We're good. We got this. Want to do a musical? saw a few parameters there. I was just double checking I was looking at the right parameter. But okay. Alrighty.
Might be tricky to find.
Yeah, there's a fair bit happening here, but I can see in the snapshot activity there's some music duck happening. So we're kind of looking for something that's like pulling the music back as we go. So based on that movement, you can see there's one kicks in there. So let's have a look through. Let's door open. Skim through, chanting loops. So we're looking for events or snapshots here. I'm going to ask for a clue.
Yeah, so it is a snapshot.
Cool.
Do you want to know what the channel will be called?
Yeah, let's
So
go
it's
that.
called Ascension's thing, I think, or Ascension or something like that.
Ah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Maybe White Eyes or one of those two.
Apparently not.
Oh, okay. Oh, it might be the S effect then. It might be called like Beam.
Beam. Okay. Open. Not chanting loop.
No.
6 plus. No.
Do you want me to have a little gaze? Oh,
Yeah. Oh wait, there's a music duck snapshot. There we go.
Yeah, so that's on one of the. I thought that was on this thing that's making the music duck like that.
So, this is an interesting sidebar, actually. So what's happening is, as you probably just noticed, I was looking for an event, but it looks like there's a snapshot that's being triggered. Now, again, I'm not going to dive into like FMOD 101 stuff, but a snapshot is basically an image of a mixer at any point. So you can save a bunch of different mixer fader settings and EQ settings and whatnot, and then apply those at any point dynamically and just say, okay, play the pause snapshot or play the music duck snapshot, and it will apply that mix effect that's happening as it goes. So it looks like there's a music duck snapshot being triggered from here. As to how that's getting triggered is probably way out of the scope for this one, because we can dive into the API view over here, but yeah, that's getting a bit more code-based, so let's avoid that. But it looks like there is this snapshot. So I think if we go to Mac, I'll get my bearings. So if we jump into the mixer, and we can have a look at the snapshots tab. We can see here we've got the music duck snapshot, and if we just play that, we can see there is some attenuation that's happening on the music bus and the sound effects bus there. And there you go. So we've got the group has the music fader turned down to 0 when this this snapshot is triggered, right? So you can see here's the music group. When I don't have the snapshot selected, it's a full volume. When music duck is selected, it's turned that down. So he's saved a snapshot that has the music bus turned down, and then somebody somehow from the game code has then triggered this snapshot. So you can do that either by just calling the snapshot or using the snapshot instrument, again, out of the scope of this one. But yeah, and then I think he's just blending between the two to pull back the music to make sure that there's some, interesting. So we can see that graph intensity there as the fader is basically being adjusted, and I believe. Yeah, So I think that's what we're aiming for, I hope, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's it. And I'll show you the way that it's actually done in the project. So there's just when a sting plays, not every single one, but most stings, I'll duck the music just to make room for the musical element of the sting, because I don't necessarily want that playing at the same time as the music. So, for example, let's look. What's a good one? Yeah, so something like this. Yeah, you can just see that I'm just automating the music duck up, which is pulling the music volume down. And yeah, I found that it just makes a lot of space. It makes the sting kind of ring through as opposed to like just clashing. Yeah, I think we've got time to show one more thing. We got 5 minutes, yeah.
Just really quickly, just to clarify what that was. So that was the snapshot instrument that I was talking about. The automation curve that was happening. Sorry, Narayana's running away from me again. Oops. Record. Right, good, we got it. So what that red line on the snapshot instrument was automating the intensity. And you can think of the intensity as kind of like a blend value for the snapshot. So if there is the music bus being set to 0, the intensity will basically gradually increase the mix bus getting set to 0. Sorry, my voice is going on me.
Are we good?
Yeah. Hell yeah. I love that music so much. Okay. Just going to move that over there in case I do something stupid. All right. Now, I'm pretty sure in this case we're going to be looking for at least look, at this point I don't care what you want. I'm looking for that boss music because that was cool. So, that one should be... What are we doing? Okay, so there's this event here that looks like it's something to do with the biome. You can see the instance kind of kicks in as soon as the sound kind of ramps up. Right. So, okay, pretty clearly that one, and then we can also see we've got these different elements kicking in, so I'm pretty convinced it's going to be this instance here. So we're going to open up this event and have a look.
Yeah, and I reckon go to boss B instead of boss A because it's a little bit more interesting, I think.
All right. Let's do that. Why is that not letting me? There we go. Main boss B. Cool. So the room ID, again, good naming conventions, makes it easy. We just kind of can click on the triangle here, set the value. I'm just going to play this. So first up, that's awesome. Second, let's have a look. So we want to go main boss B. So the first thing I can see happening is we've got a few different transition regions. If we left-click on these transition regions, it's basically saying, hey, if any of these conditions are true, then move the playback position to that element. So in this case, we're going, okay, if the playback position at any point in here is true to 1 bar, if boss entry ambience is true, then jump to boss entry ambience. Makes sense. And then we've also got it quantized per bar, which means that this will only ever transition basically at the end of the next bar, right? So if we were playing, so that's when FMOD's checking is whether or not it's able to transition. Cool. So that's how that's how I'm assuming that Narayana is keeping that in time. We then have another boss entry ambience that's set to 4 bars. And over here, we've got another one that's set to minims or half notes. So basically what each one of these different regions is doing is checking whether or not FMOD is able to transition at the specified quantization level, right? So every 4 bars, every 1 bar, every 1 bar, every half a bar. Mm-hmm. Now, I can also see that Narayan has... Cool. I can also see that Narayan's got transition timelines here as well, which is indicated by these little circles here. So let's just jump into the 1 bar transition, double click this one and it opens up the transition timeline. And I can see that we've got an extra little sting here, and then the destination is being offset. So what's happening is once this transition happens, it plays this musical sting. And then what I can do is quickly have a look at quarter note, and it looks like we've got a different sting based on the division of the bar, which, if I'm right, is super cool. So he's basically going, hey, if this track ends at the end of a bar, use this music sting to finish it off. If the transition happens halfway through a bar, use a different sting, different musical sting. So if I'm right, let's just quickly test that. Sorry, that was on me because I'm blind. So let me just play that again. I've activated the follow playback position so we can see which transition timeline is going to trigger. And then we can go from there. So let's play, and I'll try and trigger it at the end of the bar and see if I'm right. It would help if I set the right thing, wouldn't it? Beat. And now let's real quick try and do half a bar. So yes, I'm right, and yes, that sounds sick, and no, I have not seen anybody do that, and yes, you should do it because it's cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, everyone. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you, dude.
Appreciate that, dude. Whew. That was fun. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
I appreciate it, but...
I better reject my hard drive before I break Ableton again.